a little nicer car, or maybe I want to get something a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's like, so you run into that kind of stuff everywhere, but there it's kind of extreme. Because now they're like, oh, well, hey, I'm going to go charter this plane and take 50 of my friends to Hawaii. Well, that's expensive, and not everybody can afford to do that. In fact, even the guys that do that sometimes can't afford it.
Yeah.
But so you've got this locker room presence that is really, really strong and powerful, and then you've got all these other people around you. Sometimes they've got good intentions, but you've got family and friends that they're not experienced either because they're kids too. They're 21, 22, just like you are.
Yeah.
And now they're coming to you and saying, "Oh, come on, man, give me $100,000 and we can start this business or do that, and it's going to be great, and we're going to be millionaires." It's very difficult to start a business and turn it into $1 million company.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yep.
And so you've got all of these influences. You've got the women, which I've been at an awful lot of these Super Bowl parties, and I've been in places with tons of pro athletes. And these are not unattractive women, generally speaking. And there's kind of a competition of who can wear the least amount of clothing. And so that can take you down a certain temptation path that can be ultimately very destructive, and that can be really challenging because where they lose most of their money, divorce is a killer.
Yeah,
like that's half your money right there.
Yep.
And so that is a huge impact. And oftentimes these guys have multiple marriages, and sometimes they have multiple kids from multiple women, and alimony's not cheap. And so there's a lot of things that play on these guys that makes it very, very difficult, and the level of temptation that they have is crazy. The other little thing that I always point out, so we all look at Tiger Woods and we see, oh, well, he slept with 18 women or whatever the number was.
Yeah.
And like, man, how could he do that? That's terrible. To me, that's not the number we should be looking at. We should be looking at the number of times he said no, because it's probably 10,000.
Yeah.
And because I promise you that guys like Tiger, guys like any pro athletes, when they go out, they have everything available to them all the time. And so for them to say no 95% of the time, for us mere mortals, like we'd be like, oh my gosh, the first time I'm kind of slipping down a bad path.
Yeah.
But they got to learn to say no, and they got to say no a lot.
Yeah, I've heard stories of guys who, have gotten to a professional league, the NFL, NBA, and, kind of get that first rookie deal, and, they're out and about. You can't just run to the store anymore and grab something because somebody's going to recognize you. And, I mean, like you said, if you go to these nightclubs, I mean, somehow the women find out you're there. And like you said, they're not the unattractive ones.
Yeah.
Unattractive ones showing up.
Yeah, in a world of Twitter and social media.
Yeah, find out like, hey, this guy's over here, so let's go see what we can do.
Yeah.
See if we can cause some trouble.
Yeah. So I mean, these guys, they've got legitimate challenges that us mere mortals don't really
we don't
see.
understand.
We don't understand, and so all of that stuff combines to make it very difficult. And so that transition is a big deal, and that's a big part of the league, and I know we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. So what kind of, took you from that world of helping these athletes transition after to, getting to this point to where, now you're getting this league kind of going and upstart?
Basically, I did sales and marketing consulting. So I worked with a bunch of different companies and different industries and did a variety of things. When Kareem came to me with this idea, like there was just there was a lot of meat on the bone. And it's something, we've done a slow burn on this. I mean, we did a game last year, and this has not been a full-time thing at all. But now, as this thing starts to gain more and more momentum, as the guys are seeing what we're doing and understanding kind of the direction that we're taking this thing, it's getting a lot more momentum, and that's been very gratifying, certainly.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I miss the KUMU game every year, like we talked about a little earlier. I loved it. It was must-watch TV. I mean, now my big basketball game I always have to watch, and I've talked about it before, but is Duke, North Carolina. I've talked about that. But so we have KUMU coming in here next week, now on the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
You said the Arkansas K-State is going to be right before that.
Yep.
So who are some players that people could come out and expect to see at these games?
Yeah, so if you take a look at the K-State lineup, got a lot of young guns there. So we've got guys like Barry Brown, Cam Stokes, Jordan Enriquez, Thomas Gibson, Curtis Kelly, DJ Johnson, Stephen Hurt, Martavius Irving. I'm sure I'm forgetting a guy or two, but a lot of guys that basically have played in the last 5 to 7 years, and even obviously in the case of Barry and Cam, like they're just coming out of K-State, and several of those guys are playing overseas, and so very, very good quality folks. The Arkansas guys, Dontel Jefferson, let's see, KJ Williams. I'm working on a couple other guys that I can't quite announce just yet. So I'm going to remain a little bit quiet on that front. And then, of course, for KU Brandon Rush, obviously. And Miracle Mario. Got to have Mario Chalmers in there, so that's a pretty exciting one. Travis Relaford, Brady Morningstar, Tyrell Reed, Jeff Graves, who is hilarious. He's always a lot of fun to hang out with. Let's see, Jeff Hawkins, Nick Bradford, and Nick is just coming off of a world championship with his girls team. His 17-year-old girls team just pulled off a world championship.
That's cool.
So very, very cool. A lot of good KU guys on the MU side. Of course, Kareem. Let me think. Jarrett Sutton. It's always hard when you put me on the spot like that. I should have a list, and I don't. Johnny Parker. Let's see, Julian Winfield. I know I'm missing a couple of the big names. Anyways, it's a bunch of guys so these are not a bunch of walk-ons. These are guys that started and starred for all of these teams.
Austin, you're an MU guy. Who's somebody you would want to see?
No, I'm good. When he says Kareem, I'm good with that. And then, I guess I don't know. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say some of the guys I want to see because I'm not sure what English is up to.
English?
Actually, we did talk to Kim, and he was unfortunately not available.
I can't remember because I haven't followed him too much afterwards. I don't know if he's playing. Is he playing overseas or anything? Or
I think he is overseas.
I'm sure. That's another thing too. A lot of these guys, they get the. They get to make the money. If they can't go to the NBA, they can go play overseas. So it's really cool that this league's coming around. They can showcase some of their talents home. That's right, which is probably what they prefer. I mean, some of these guys go to China and they're like megastars. But, I mean, I'm sure they would love to play in front of an American crowd.
Yeah, and that was a big part of the launch of the league itself. It really was, we want to provide the guys an option. Because if they can stay home and make some money, I won't speak for all of them, obviously, but a vast majority of them would prefer to stay in the States. So many of the guys that I've talked to and worked with love going overseas, and they've had great experiences. But there's also some tougher experiences. Sometimes teams fold. Sometimes you don't get paid. Sometimes the hotels are not exactly what you're thinking they would be. So there's a lot of other challenges that pop up sometimes. But they want to be here, and again, they're most well known here.
Steve,
so why wouldn't they want to play here?
There's one request I have, Steve, and that's I'd like to see the rocking chair game, and that would be Norm Stewart and Roy Williams sitting in rocking chairs coaching. That would be a classic alumni game after the last trip to Allen Fieldhouse. Whenever Roy gave Norm the rocking chair, I'm surprised he didn't turn that into kindling wood, but I think it's still in his attic.
I would love to see that too. It's not going to happen, but obviously Roy's a little bit busy. He's still got some stuff going on out there in North Carolina.
You mean he doesn't have time? I mean,
I know. I'm a little disappointed.
This guy's he's still at the top. Really,
he
really is. So, which was crazy after all these years, but he's still a top dog. Every single year, like I said, every single year, man. UNC and Duke is the best. That's the best rivalry we got right now since the MUKU's gone. To me.
Speaking of Roy Williams there, a lot of KU fans were mad when he left. You said you're a KU guy. So how did you feel about, when he did leave?
Well, fortunately,
Kansas?
I was not still in school at that point. I'm a little older. I'm a lot older. So I wasn't totally wrapped up in it. I certainly was disappointed, But as I look back on it now, I'm more disappointed that he won 3 titles with North Carolina and none with us.
Yeah.
Because I certainly wanted the one, but I obviously go back to Hakeem Warwick flying across the lane and blocking Michael Lee's shot in 2003, and watching Carmelo Anthony just destroy us. I'm still a little bitter about that. That hurts more than Roy leaving.
Yeah, as a coach, I mean, I totally get that. He went kind of home where he had grown up and kind of cut his coaching teeth, so to speak, and was able to take over, that program. I mean, there's not very many jobs that you would say are better in college basketball than the University of Kansas. But, I mean, I feel like University of North Carolina, when you're from there,
it's legit.
It's not like, he just left and went to an Illinois or a Tulsa or, Texas or
it's
somewhere.
It's not like some of these guys will throw out there thinking – Bill Self is, he's a Okie State alumni. He may go back down there. I'm like, he's not going back down there.
No.
Why would he want to do that? No, he's not going. Don't just take it out of your head, throw it away. Yeah. He's not going down there. Come on.
It's not.
You guys, I think he's going to have Bill Self till he walks off in the sunset.
Yeah. He would have went back to Oklahoma State if he would have taken the Missouri job instead of the Illinois job. That would have.
I am a Missouri fan, and I'll actually agree with you on that.
Yeah, he would have.
I get the heck out of here.
Yeah, he would have done that, not because of Mizzou, but because it's not the program that is on.
You don't leave
Naismith Drive.
Yeah, you don't leave a blue blood to go to a school that can be pretty good.
It's probably only two. That's probably the only 2 schools that are better than the KU job is Duke and North Carolina. That's it.
I mean, Kentucky has a lot of
Kentucky's
history.
a good one.
You can argue Kentucky.
That might be.
Those are basically those 3 in KU are the 4 true blue bloods. You can throw UCLA in there, but they were
not
great
for
in
a
the
long
70s.
time.
Yeah, they haven't been
for
good.
A long time.
They haven't been a top program in a long time.
They are not what they once were.
No,
Lonzo Ball, baby. No.
So there's another idea for you, Steve. The Blue Blood League.
Yeah.
The Blue Blood League.
Well, yeah, so definitely a part of our plan as far as launching the Alumni Basketball League itself does revolve around teams like Duke and Carolina and Louisville and Kentucky and UCLA and Arizona and getting some of these really premier programs. But also, and kind of going back to what you're talking about, Jim, for us, the beginning of this really is a little bit more Midwestern. Where for next year, for the summer of 2020, we'll launch with teams like KU, MU, but we've also got teams that we're looking at, like obviously K-State, Arkansas, maybe Nebraska, maybe it's Iowa State, maybe we get Michigan State, so we kind of Texas is another one that we've had some conversations with. Iowa State's great.
Really passionate
they are
fans.
Amazing fans.
Yeah, I went to I was at the Big 12 championship tournament here, and they were a lot of fun. They got a little crazy.
Yeah, so I would love to be playing games. Go up to Des Moines or go up to Ames would be crazy if we had Iowa State there. But you go hit some other kind of what I call Tier 2 cities. So it's not necessarily L.A., New York, and Chicago, but it's Tier 2. So
yes.
It's, kind of that next level down that doesn't necessarily have a bunch of games like this coming there.
Yeah.
And now you bring in these kind of teams, it gets kind of exciting. But so first year, really more Midwestern. And then as the years go by, then we start to expand and then we start to grow. And over the next 3 to 5 years, we look at it as a national league. So we do have, Syracuse playing UConn and USC and UCLA. And, you got these teams everywhere in between playing games all over the country.
So, next year you're talking about 8 teams here in the Midwest regional, all around the area. You mentioned some of those teams. Will the game travel every week? Will there be kind of 2 teams in that city playing? Will there be 4? Kind of how will that work?
Yeah, so it'll be similar to anyone who's ever seen the Big 3. It's a similar kind of model there. So Big 3 travels, and it goes city to city, and they just kind of take over that city for that weekend and bring in all the teams. And logistically, it's much easier to manage that than if we purely had home and homes and we're bouncing back and forth. So we will travel city to city. Kansas City is our home. Kareem and Brandon live here. I live here. That's not anywhere near as important. But we all live here, and so Kansas City is where we'd always have the championship, and obviously play games here at least 1 week during the season. But yeah, we'll travel around a little bit.
Sounds like a lot of fun, with the travel and getting to see a lot of different cities, here in the Midwest. I mean, like you said, I lived in Des Moines for a number of years and would go to Hilton Coliseum for some